In the stillness of night, when the moonlight shimmers across the waters of Phra Khanong, people whisper of a woman who lingers between life and death. Her name is Mae Nak. Some call her a ghost, others call her a guardian spirit, but all agree on one thing. Her love was so strong, so unyielding, that even death itself could not sever her bond. To this day, her story is told not only as a tale of terror, but as one of devotion. For in Thailand, few legends are as enduring, as haunting, and as beloved as that of Mae Nak of Phra Khanong. It is said that if you walk along the canal late at night, you may feel the chill of her presence. A soft voice calling in the darkness, a figure in white drifting just beyond the trees, her face both beautiful and sorrowful. Parents hush their children with her name, lovers fear and admire her tale, and her shrine in Phra Khanong is visited by those who seek blessings in matters of love, luck, and fertility. But to understand Mae Nak, we must begin not with her ghostly presence, but with the life she once lived, a life filled with hope, love, and longing. It is only in knowing her humanity that we can truly feel the weight of her tragedy and the power of her restless spirit. Mae Nak, in life, was known simply as Nak. She lived in a small riverside village along the Phra Khanong Canal, a region that at the time was peaceful yet vulnerable to floods, storms, and the constant rhythms of nature. The villagers worked hard, tending rice fields, fishing in the waters, and trading in the bustling floating markets. Amidst this ordinary setting lived Nak, a woman whose beauty was said to rival the glow of the moon. She was admired not only for her graceful appearance but for her kindness. Her smile was warm, her voice soft, her eyes bright with affection. She captured the heart of a young man named Mak, a farmer who was strong and diligent. Their love blossomed quickly, like a lotus opening at dawn. They married in the presence of family and neighbors, their union celebrated with laughter, songs, and blessings from the village elders. Soon after, Nak became pregnant, and joy filled their home. The young couple prepared eagerly for their child, their laughter echoing across the water. Yet fate is not always kind, and their happiness would be tested in ways neither could have imagined. For in those days, Thailand was not free from conflict. Soldiers were needed, and young men were called to serve. Mak was among them. The summons tore him from his home, forcing him to leave his beloved Nak even as her belly grew heavy with new life. Their farewell was filled with tears and promises. Nak swore she would wait for him. Mak swore he would return, no matter how long the war lasted. As he walked away, Nak held her belly and prayed that both she and their child would live to see his return. Mak's departure was like the tearing of fabric, leaving Nak alone with her unborn child. The days grew long, the nights lonely. Yet Nak endured, tending to her home, walking slowly by the canal, and speaking to the child within her womb as though her words could protect it from harm. Mak, meanwhile, faced the harsh life of a soldier. The battles were grueling, the conditions harsh. Disease and hunger claimed many of his companions, but Mak fought with determination, his heart always fixed on the image of Nak waiting for him. In every sleepless night, in every march across muddy fields, he whispered her name. Back in the village, Nak's pregnancy advanced. Without her husband's support, she relied on the kindness of neighbors, though whispers spread of her fragility. She was small and delicate, and many worried about the coming birth. She prayed every night, lighting candles and offering incense, hoping the spirits of her ancestors would protect her and the child. But destiny can be cruel. When the time of birth came, Nak struggled. Hours passed in pain, her cries echoing across the canal. The midwives tried everything, chanting prayers, offering herbal remedies, but both mother and child slipped away. The village mourned deeply, for Nak was beloved by all, and the tragedy of a young mother and baby dying together was heavy upon them. She was buried near the tamarind tree close to her home, her spirit believed to have passed peacefully into the next life, or so they thought. Though her body lay beneath the earth, Nak's spirit could not rest. Her love for Mak was too strong, her desire to remain by his side too fierce. Rather than moving on, she lingered. At first, her presence was subtle, a shadow moving across the water at night, a soft lullaby sung in the breeze, a lantern glowing when no one had lit it. When Mak returned from war, weary but eager to embrace his family, he found Nak waiting for him. She appeared as beautiful as ever, her smile radiant, her arms open, the baby swaddled gently in her embrace. Mak wept with joy. He had feared the worst, yet here they were, his wife and child alive and well. He ran to them, held them, and believed himself the luckiest man in the world. The villagers, however, knew the truth. They had seen Nak's funeral, attended her burial. They whispered among themselves, their voices hushed but urgent. They tried to warn Mak, telling him that his wife and child were spirits, that he was living with ghosts. But Mak would not listen. His love blinded him, his heart refusing to accept such horror. To him, Nak was alive. To him, nothing was wrong. But it would not be long before the truth began to reveal itself. It started with small things. Neighbors spoke of strange sights, Nak gliding silently across the floor, her shadow not matching her movements, her eyes glowing faintly in the dark. One night, while preparing dinner, she dropped a lime into the floorboards. Instead of bending down to pick it up, she reached her arm through the cracks, stretching it impossibly long until her hand grasped the fruit. A neighbor who saw this ran screaming, spreading fear throughout the village. Soon, no one dared visit their home. The once lively household became a place of dread. Mak remained oblivious, convinced that jealousy or malice drove the rumors. But the fear of the villagers grew. They avoided the canal at night. They avoided passing by Mak's home, and they prayed fervently for protection. Nak's love for Mak seemed unchanged, but there was something unsettling in her devotion. She cooked his meals, tended his clothes, and rocked the child in her arms, but her smile lingered too long, her eyes followed too closely, her presence too cold. It was as if her love had grown darker, more possessive, clinging to him like chains. The villagers began to believe that Nak's spirit, while driven by love, was also filled with resentment at being torn from life. Her affection became suffocating, her devotion edged with menace. And though Mak still resisted the truth, it was only a matter of time before even he would have to face what she had become. For Mak, life continued as though nothing had changed. He worked in the fields, returned home to Nak, and lived in the warmth of what he believed was his family. Yet behind that warmth was the chill of the grave. Nak's ghostly nature became harder to conceal. Her footsteps made no sound. Dogs barked and howled when she passed. Her reflection in water sometimes disappeared entirely, leaving only emptiness. Still, Mak could not let go. He told himself that love was stronger than superstition, that the gossip of villagers could not erase what he felt. He kissed her, embraced her, and whispered promises of a future together, ignoring the unease that gnawed at his heart. Nak, for her part, seemed both gentle and terrifying. She shielded him from harm, chased away those who tried to warn him, and clung fiercely to him whenever he strayed. Her love was unwavering, but it was no longer the love of a woman. It was the love of a ghost, bound by obsession, unable to let go. As the days passed, tension grew unbearable. The villagers lived in fear, Mak lived in denial, and Nak's spirit hovered between tenderness and rage. The story of Mae Nak was no longer just a tragedy. It was becoming a nightmare that threatened to consume them all. The fear in Phra Khanong grew unbearable. The villagers could no longer tolerate the presence of Nak's spirit. They whispered about her appearances at night, gliding through the fields with her baby in her arms, her face pale, her eyes glowing faintly like embers. They whispered of strange accidents, of fishermen disappearing in the canal, of children waking at night screaming after hearing a woman's lullaby outside their windows. Finally, the elders of the village gathered. They resolved to confront Mak, to beg him to open his eyes. They told him the truth again and again. They spoke of her funeral, of her grave beneath the tamarind tree, of the lime-stretching horror witnessed by his neighbor. But Mak, blinded by love, refused to hear them. The more they tried, the more Nak's spirit grew restless. When a group of villagers attempted to drive her away with chants and offerings, they never returned. Some say they were found lifeless by the canal, their faces twisted in terror. Others claim their bodies were never found at all. The village lived in constant dread. The temple monks were called, their prayers echoing across the fields, their incense smoke rising to the heavens. But Nak's spirit was powerful. Her love, her obsession, her refusal to leave made her a ghost unlike any other. She was not a wandering soul, but an anchored one, bound to Mak with chains of longing. The villagers prayed harder, made offerings to the Buddha, and whispered pleas for mercy. Yet in their hearts, they knew. Until Mak himself saw the truth, Nak would remain. It is said that one evening, Mak was working outside while Nak prepared food. She dropped a lime that rolled off the porch into the ground below. Without hesitation, Nak extended her arm down through the floorboards, stretching it farther and farther until it was unnaturally long, her hand plucking up the lime as though it were nothing. Mak saw it. For the first time, he could not deny the truth. His heart froze, his breath caught, his world shattered. The woman he loved, the woman he had held every night, was no longer alive. He had been living with a ghost. In a panic, Mak fled. He ran through the fields, past the trees, past the canal, his feet pounding against the earth. Behind him, Nak cried out his name, her voice echoing across the land, filled with sorrow and rage. She chased him, her body gliding swiftly, her baby clutched in her arms, her cries tearing through the night. Mak ran to the temple, throwing himself at the feet of the monks. They surrounded him, chanting ancient sutras, striking bells, holding relics to shield him. Nak appeared at the edge of the temple grounds, her form shifting between beauty and horror, her eyes brimming with tears, her voice pleading. "Mak, do not leave me. Do not abandon me. I love you." Her cries pierced his heart, for even in his terror he still loved her. But the monks held firm. The sacred boundary of the temple grounds kept her out, her spirit unable to cross. She screamed, wailed, and wept, her voice echoing in the night until the villagers shivered with fear. At last, she vanished, leaving silence behind. The monks knew that Nak's spirit could not be left to wander. They prepared rituals of exorcism, gathering relics and chanting sacred verses. With the power of the Dharma, they set forth to bind her spirit and bring peace to the village. They went to the tamarind tree near her grave, carrying blessed ropes, holy water, and relics said to hold the power of the Buddha himself. As they chanted, Nak appeared once more, her form shimmering, her face both sorrowful and terrifying. She pleaded with them, begged to stay with Mak, begged not to be taken away. But the monks were firm. Some versions of the tale say that her spirit was captured and sealed into a clay pot, bound tightly with sacred inscriptions. The pot was cast into the canal, sinking beneath the waters, never to be opened. Others say she was subdued and placed beneath a relic of the Buddha, forever unable to escape. Still others tell that her spirit was bound into the grounds of the temple itself, turned from a restless ghost into a guardian spirit. Whatever the version, the essence is the same. Mae Nak's spirit was too powerful to destroy, but it could be contained. Her cries echoed one last time, carrying across the canal, before silence returned. The village breathed again. Mak, though heartbroken, lived on, his life forever haunted by the memory of the wife he loved and the ghost she became. Time passed, but Mae Nak was not forgotten. The villagers continued to speak of her, their voices filled with both fear and respect. They built a shrine to her at Phra Khanong, offering flowers, incense, and prayers. For though she was once feared, many came to believe that her spirit could bring blessings as well as misfortune. Women prayed to her for protection during childbirth, believing she understood their suffering. Lovers prayed for her blessing, hoping that their devotion would be as strong as hers. Soldiers prayed to her before going to war, asking her to keep them safe as she had once longed for Mak's safety. Her legend grew, spreading far beyond Phra Khanong. Plays were written about her, poets composed verses of her tragic love, and artists painted her form. In time, she became one of the most famous spirits in all of Thailand, her name known in every province, her shrine visited by countless believers. Today, people still bring offerings to her shrine, lotus flowers, incense, fruit, and even toys for her child. They whisper prayers for love, fertility, safety, and good fortune. For Mae Nak is no longer just a ghost of tragedy. She is a guardian, a protector, a spirit whose story continues to echo across generations. Mae Nak's story did not remain confined to folklore. It became part of Thai culture itself. Her legend was retold in films, theater, and television. Some portray her as terrifying, her ghostly form haunting the night. Others emphasize the romance, showing her as a woman whose love endured beyond death. In the 20th century, her story became especially popular in cinema. Films such as Mae Nak of Phra Khanong captured audiences, blending fear and sorrow into tales that sent shivers down spines while drawing tears from eyes. Each retelling added new details, new interpretations, yet always kept the heart of the story. A woman who loved too deeply to let go. Even today, her story inspires filmmakers, writers, and artists. Tourists visit her shrine, locals bring offerings, and young couples pray for her blessing. She has become more than a ghost. She has become a symbol of love, tragedy, and devotion that transcends the grave. So ends the story of Mae Nak. Yet in truth, it never ends. For as long as people whisper her name, as long as offerings are placed at her shrine, as long as lovers cling to each other in the face of hardship, her spirit lives on. She was once Nak, a woman of beauty and kindness, a wife and mother whose life was cut short by tragedy. She became a ghost, bound by love, terrifying yet tender, feared yet pitied. She haunted her village, clung to her husband, and defied death itself. She was exorcised, contained, and transformed, yet her presence never faded. Even now, her shrine stands in Phra Khanong, where candles flicker and incense smoke rises into the night sky. People come with prayers, with offerings, with hopes. Some believe they hear her voice, soft and sorrowful, calling the name of her beloved. Mae Nak is not only a ghost story. She is a tale of love that refused to die, a reminder of the fragility of life, the power of devotion, and the thin line between tenderness and terror. And perhaps, even now, if you walk by the Phra Khanong Canal at night, When the waters shimmer in the moonlight and the air grows cold, you may hear it too. A soft voice, calling out in the darkness. Mak, Mak.